And one of the exact things that we're looking at are these at-risk advance accounts, pre-award spending. It's a really important tool, in my mind, to be able to use these. Oregon State University has a College of Ag Sciences. Other schools I know have a lot of things. Everyone in this audience probably has projects that are very time sensitive in terms of when they start. So having the ability to set up that at-risk or advance account is a lifesaver. If, for instance, we've got to go look at the glaciers up at Mount Hood, well, we can't necessarily do that year round because the snow melts in the summer. So if you're trying to look at snowpack, you really have to do that at certain times of the year. Every day, we like to use them whenever possible. And one of the things we're looking at is if we've got one of these time-sensitive projects and we were delayed in getting the award from the sponsor, we want to start asking the PI as soon as that award comes in the door, do you need an at-risk or an advance account to get yourself started while we're continuing our review? Because I feel like our risk is pretty low. We know the award's here. If it helps the PI get their work started better, why wouldn't we want to do that? But that's a different scenario of the award being in the door. The more typical way that we use these at-risk accounts is we're anticipating the award, so there is a little bit more of the risk. At Oregon State, we use a form that at-risk account can be requested, and the department head or the PI's supervisor, I'm sure it's pretty common, signs off and says, we'll cover any costs in the event that this award doesn't come through. I don't know that that's different from what y'all do at the Smithsonian or Washington University.
Yeah, so we're pretty much the same, where my perspective is always I much prefer for people to set up the advance accounts because it definitely helps us with saves everybody's time, effort, and potential risk with the cost transfer process later on, because that's a huge advantage of an advance or at-risk account is you don't have to do the cost transfer once pen has been put to paper. But yes, we do ask for that guarantee that the unit will cover if there's the 2% chance that the award doesn't come in, that they will indeed cover those costs. My perspective is always that I'm going to go ahead and sign that. I really would never question that because there's no risk, really no risk to central administration because the unit said they're going to cover it. So why not encourage people to do that? But Glenda, any disadvantages that you see?
Yes, on the departmental side, I'm more less willing to create an advance account unless I am assured that that award is coming through the door, because it is our funds that are going to be used if the award comes in late, if the award is cut dramatically, or if it doesn't come in the door at all. And that happens, not often, but it does. The other disadvantage to having an advance account is if you start your advance account more than 90 days before the award starts, you have to go back and ask permission to extend that period because you only have a 90-day pre-award cost time frame. And then if you are going to spend a lot of funds before the award start date, are you going to have enough funds to get you through the full year? It tends to be if you spend a lot of funds up front, that like to buy a piece of equipment, that's one thing, but they tend to also want to spend it for salaries and for supplies, and then they run out of funds before the end of the year, and then they're borrowing on the next year's funds, which doesn't really set up a good model for your award. You should try to wait if possible, but at times, there's always times that you're going to have to set up an advance account. But I would say use discretion talk with your faculty to verify it's really necessary, and talk with your department head or your department chair, whoever is going to sign off on that award or that account to verify we have the expense funds to cover it.
I think there's probably much less risk if you're dealing with your typical federal sponsor and it's going to be a grant that you get. If it's a non-federal sponsor, the risky aspect of it that I always see is what's going to be the start date of the award, because you don't have any guarantee of that 90-day
Exactly.
pre-award spend in there. So you have to be careful that they will actually backdate the start of the award to allow you to get those expenditures in.